Hi, everybody. Oh, I should have checked. Make sure that I'm on and make sure that I have power. Okay. So happy Saturday. Oh, it's already Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's just we're burning the midnight oil. So much is happening. So much evidence, right? There's so much evidence. Piles of robust mountain of evidence. A robust mountain of evidence. Yes. And we have been sharing it. And the more you look into the law, the more I can see myself. So I guess I'm on. Everything's working. Turn everything down so I can see all your comments. Yep. Okay, so we are at 1,730 days. 1,730 days since Richard was forcibly removed and murdered on Fort Bliss, and disrespected, totally disrespected. You know, I wanted to name this live stream Hero Richard Halliday. Hero Richard Halliday. That's what I wanted to talk about, but we're getting a lot of information coming in because we are preparing our lawsuit. Finally, we're going to submit a lawsuit. And so, it's all, we have enough, we've had enough for a long time, but we feel like our communication with Washington, D.C., and, what we have, it's just so powerful. It's so powerful that we can now submit it. So we will be doing that shortly. We are in major communications, getting that drafted, and so that's really breaking news. Breaking news that is moving forward, and we've been wanting to do it for a long time. But you have to have the right legal team. You have to have the right politics. And we feel the right, because we've had evidence. We've had evidence. But, it's our justice system has been manipulated and tampered with and obstructed and interfered with, and just like Richard's case. And anybody that says that CID files don't get leaked, FBI files don't get leaked, I just want to laugh. I just want to laugh. How ridiculous. What a ridiculous statement. It is so ridiculous because we have had years and years of leaks, right? Leaks and tampering with files. And now we have Kyla Cardona absolutely confirming that there was an order by Lieutenant General Sean Cardona Bernabe to not have another Guillen situation, meaning Vanessa Guillen, another Vanessa, disrespecting Vanessa Guillen. Let me tell you, if I was Vanessa Guillen's family, I wouldn't be. I wonder if there's something that they can do about that too, right? Because what does that tell you about that case? That they weren't willing with all their heart to help solve that case? That case was a thorn in their side? Is that what they were saying there? Because, and I hope that Myra's watching, and I hope that they understand that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe obstructed and interfered with our son's investigation, murder investigation. And by saying that they didn't want another Guillen situation, meaning some kind of thorn in their side or whatever. Or really, what that meant is accountability for their failed leadership, for their criminal activity. And 100% Lieutenant General Sean Cartel Friendly Bernabe was engaging in criminal activity. And so I really hope if anyone is watching that knows the Guillen family, I hope that they really look into this, because the excuse and the order that was given by Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe is in itself, it's just so criminal. It's so criminal on so many different levels. So criminal. And so we are drafting in the process of doing that, and we'll let everyone know um, how this lawsuit is going to move forward. So, because they absolutely have to be held responsible for what they have done to our military and to us and to Richard, um, to whistleblowers. You know, there's so much to unpack, right? There's so much to unpack. We are really pushing forward with making sure that everyone knows in El Paso, especially, that James Montoya is not the DA. I think that's very, very important for everyone to share. If you could please share it. We've, tried everything to get the point across to El Pasoans that, and it's so bad not to have a prosecutor, because then the criminals can run roughshod over the county, and that costs a lot of money. So it costs a lot of lives, and of course, the most of the crimes are fraud crimes, uh, theft crimes, and all of that, and contract. There's just so many different types of crimes, and it costs um, the taxpayer so much money. So not to have a legitimate DA there is creates a crime culture, and also costs a lot of money. So, it's no wonder that the taxes are so high in El Paso, the property taxes. So if you can share that, it's, um, life and death, absolutely life and death, and preservation of the city, right, of the county. Um, this is terrible what they're doing. Absolutely terrible. They have not had a legitimate DA since Yvonne Rosales. And, both Bill Hicks, can you imagine all this crime going on? And so don't, we have explained it that before you take your oath of office, the Texas Constitution requires that you sign an anti-bribe. It's called the Statement of Officer. An anti-bribe statement of officer promising, swearing. Well, I don't know if it's a swear. Is it an oath? Yeah, but yeah, it is. That you are promising the people that you did not get into that position with bribes, that you will do your duty without being influenced by outside powers that might have bribed you in order to get to that position. That's why that is so important. And you have to sign that and file it with the Secretary of State before you take the oath of office. And, James Montoya had it in the bag, and so did Bill Hicks. He had it in the bag, but they both did not sign the statement of office or the anti-bribe statement before they took their oath of office, and so thereby violating the oath of office. It's the law. You have to do one before the other, right? And they did not do that, and it's a violation, and it also questions their intentions, right? Were they bribed then? That they weren't willing to sign it before the oath. And if they sign it afterwards, it nulls it also because it's kind of like holding your fingers crossed behind your back, crossing your fingers behind your back while you're signing something. It negates the statement of office legally. So they cannot sign it after they take the oath. It has to be done before they take the oath. And so very sad. A video of the I have to get rid of this person. Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Anicia, for coming on and your prayers and your love. So, that's really what's going on, the major thing, because we need, and El Paso, everyone needs a prosecutor there, a legitimate prosecutor. So, that's two things on the list, that we are drafting our lawsuit. And also, if everyone can share the information that we have put together, there's lots of different ways you can do it. It depends on who your audience is. You can do the meme way. You can do the show them the statement of officer. We've posted it up. And you can Google what a statement of officer looks like from the Secretary of State to show people, and how his Secretary of State is very, very strange, and clearly tampered with the 2028 stamp. Um, so that really makes him not trustable. And the other point of this is, now you understand, when you understand that he has no authority to prosecute any case, and therefore he could not prosecute Patrick Crucius. He could not um, uh, hold to his promises during his election campaign, where he said he was going to get the death penalty and prosecute Patrick Crucius, bring him to trial, because he is not even a DA. He has no authority to do that. And so he had to agree to this plea deal, right? Because he's a nobody. He's absolutely a nobody. And when it comes to having any kind of authority. And so, so that's why you saw him cave. That's why you saw him do the plea deal. That's why you saw that, he couldn't bring Patrick Crucius to trial, because he doesn't have the authority. And not only with that case, but all cases. So this is why, what's going to happen if another crime happens. You won't even have a prosecutor. And of course, in our case, we need a prosecutor too, especially with our lawsuit coming up. So it is very, very important. When it comes to Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, I mean, it's been a slam dunk, hasn't it, with Kyla Cardona, to show that he's treasonous, that he's a traitor. And if you are like a little bit of an investigative mind, you can look into that further. And it's really clear that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe was not a stranger to El Paso, not a stranger to this group at all, that he was, very much knowing what was going on, before he even became the commander of Fort Bliss. And and here he has Kyla Cardona being his assistant, and ordering. He came in to be the cover up man, because he had skin in the game. Okay, because he had skin in the game. It's kind of like Montoya too. Montoya, don't forget, and I almost did forget to tell you this. But he was on that Walmart case from the very beginning. He knew that Jaime Esparza, the DA at the time, um, had no authority at all, or let's just say, he had conflicts of interest with his sister, right? That was in the Walmart shooting. And so he had to recuse himself. And that's what I want to say. He had such a bad conflict of interest because his sister was at the Walmart, and he was called there by her and walked the crime scene. And we heard it was a report that he even took pictures and maybe video, and didn't even enter that into the evidence pool, the which is required. Um, so he is, was kept on the case for almost 2 years. And, James Montoya knew this, and the Mayellas knew this. The Mayellas, they were in the federal courthouse. The Mayellas were in the district attorney's office working for Jaime Esparza's administration. The Mayellas were in the FBI, a field office there in El Paso. The Mayellas were at the Walmart security, working in Walmart cybersecurity. The Mayellas were in the mental health care of the victims and the victims' family members. The Mayellas were all over El Paso and all over the institutions and agencies. And it is not true that Patrick Crucius randomly picked El Paso. He was part of El Paso. He is, his family is a big, big part of El Paso. And so that was all a lie. And the whole thing with any, he even said it, that he has no racism. So it makes you question, how did this manifesto come about and everything. And, but because Montoya has no authority to prosecute the case, where's all the evidence? Where's all the evidence? And Judge Sam Madrano agreed to the whole plea deal without any evidence at all. Where's the videos? I mean, we paid millions and millions of dollars as taxpayers. Where's all the videos? Where's the evidence? Um, and so justice has not been served in that case at all. And now, uh, going through all of our evidence, there are, the talk is that, you know, this is a lone shooter. But the evidence shows over and over again, it confirms over and over again witness statements where there were um, shooters in black wearing a mask, right? That they were seen. It was recorded. It was documented that there were shooters all dressed in black wearing a mask. That wasn't Patrick Crucius. That wasn't Patrick Crucius. And the other thing too is not one of those victim statements. Now, maybe there was, but what I heard, what I saw, not one of them, and I think it would be in the news if there was, not one of them pointed to Patrick Crucius and said, "You shot me. Why did you shoot me?" Not one of them said that. I didn't hear it. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? I didn't hear it. Something is really, really wrong with the narrative, and they're messing. They're messing. So, yeah, so they're not telling us, they're not leveling with us, they're not telling us the truth, just like in Richard's case. It's the same thing. They're not leveling with us, they're not telling us the truth. You saw that with Nadal Baim. They kept that from us, who he was. Matter of fact, they lied to us to our face, telling us it was just a nobody. That they had looked him up and that he was just a nobody. He was just following our Facebook, and that that we shouldn't worry, and that he's just crazy. That he's just crazy. And that's not who Nadal Baim is. Sorry, that's not who Nadal Baim is. Baim, and we have confirmation that he is being investigated. Um, so, he is absolutely somebody, and he's the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado, the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, which is Richard's command. And we were lied to about that, and that's hard evidence, because he said that Richard's case was finished because he was dead, that they found him in Juarez, Mexico, and it was a secret. Shh, shh, you know, and so that corroborates Kyla Cardona's um, uh, dissemination, or carrying out the orders, um, or or the orders to suppress, the orders um, to obstruct. Thank you, to obstruct and to interfere with with Richard's case, because they did not want another Vanessa Guillen situation. And that just makes me so mad every time I have to say it. It makes me so mad. It makes me fume. Smoke's coming out of my ears, really. Smoke's coming out of my ears. That's how I view myself right now. It makes me so mad that that's what he said. And he needs to be held for the highest penalty. And, people have asked, well, how is this treason? Well, look at what happened to the breaches of security on Fort Bliss, right? Just so many breaches of security in our FBI, so many breaches of security in the CID, so many breaches of security in the uh, with Thomas Kane, the what is it, Director of Emergency Services. Breaches of security at Park University, breaches of security in the barracks, breaches of security. And with those breaches of security, you have and these are known breaches of security. These are absolutely orchestrated breaches of security. There's no other explanation. And then you have criminal tied individuals on base in our military that are taking advantage of those breaches of security by trafficking. And who are they selling those weapons to? Who are they selling the ammunition to? Who are they selling the equipment to? Who are they selling maybe secrets to? Who are they, are they, and they were obviously hurting and compromising our soldiers. They were shaking. And I'm eyewitness to that, to their mental anxiety, their mental shaking. They were mentally not right when we were there. I'm telling you, they were shaking in their boots because the enemy was inside of the army. The enemy was Lieutenant General Sean Cardona Bernabe. He's the traitor. He has absolutely engaged in treason, and he needs to be absolutely held to the highest penalty. And that, yeah, so that's, and anyone saying we don't have evidence, we have so much evidence, and it's all over. It's all over in this Facebook everywhere, and we have so much evidence of all of that because of the emergency in Congress. Congress is also, has a robust mountain of evidence um, for what was going on in El Paso and Fort Bliss. And Fort Bliss was Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe's responsibility. And when he put that uniform on and the stars on, he was given amazing, amazing support, amazing housing support, amazing retirement support, amazing legal support, amazing transportation support, amazing military support. Uh, Absolutely for want of nothing. We have $1 trillion military budget. He was of want of nothing, and he has no excuses for the breaches in security on Fort Bliss and the obstruction, the interference of a whistleblower's murder investigation. He has absolutely no excuse for uh, every hurt that unnecessarily happened under his watch, and it was a lot of it. And with an assistant like Kayla Cardona, she she does tricks, y'all. She does tricks. Let's just say that. She's up to no good. She is so compromised. The relationship between Leilani Hart and Tavita Nusa, the relationship between Leilani Hart and Eric Johnson, that was also shared with Kayla's relationship with Eric Johnson. These relationships with individuals that have positions, um, and this is documented relationships that are absolutely illegal relationships. Illegal relationships. But because we have, um, I don't know, maybe it is Hollywood, and I don't watch so much TV. Um, uh, Maybe it is this hypnotizing of such low standards that everyone can sleep with everyone, this sex cult mentality, and have children with everybody. And I'm telling you, it is so dangerous. So dangerous. It is not about pleasure. It is all intentional to destroy our country, to destroy our families, to destroy our military readiness, to access our secrets because everyone's so compromised. And then you have access, not just the secrets, but access our technology, access everything that makes us strong. And it is, and then if you speak out against it, like you're square or something like that, you don't understand. People have to have their pleasure. No, no, their pleasure does not come first. Pleasure does not come first. No, not over our country's well-being, our family's well-being, our children's well-being, our community's well-being. That is way above personal pleasure. Sorry. And I'm telling you, it is so damaging. Our evidence, it is just, it's unbelievable how compromised people are because of this very dangerous element in our culture. Um, for Lieutenant General to have uh, I'll grant you this, he was a major general at the time, but to have a two-star general, and I'm sure they're still in contact with each other, um, to have a compromised individual such as Kayla Cardona as an assistant with her husband, this conflict of interest on top of it, being NCOIC as a paralegal in the JAG office with a team that has total access to these case files, that their job is even to redact, right? To decide on what to redact and everything. And to have Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe order um, the obstruction and interference, whatever it takes. And we know that they did that with the arms room of building um, uh, 2479, right? Richard's building, that they absolutely remodeled the arms room uh, without any protocol, normal protocol. And, so, oh, we don't have a record of it. Yeah, because they just used whatever discretionary funding at, whatever cost it cost to get that renovated. Um, so, that is obstruction, withholding all kinds of information from us. Um, oh, and I can go on that really. So there is absolutely a mountain of robust evidence on the obstruction and the interference that was carried out by the command of Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe in a traitorous, treasonous role. I mean, it's just bad. It's really bad. And on top of that, because more and more information is going to come out, I'm just trying. It's, there's so much to unpack. I just want everyone to understand that Kyla Cardona had more connections than just what we're telling you. She did have the connection with the one of the prime suspects in Richard's murder case, and that's Leilani Hart. I told you everything goes back to Leilani Hart. I've been saying that for a long time. Leilani Hart needs to be arrested, and it is really concerning that those two speak Chinese. It is very concerning. And, speaking Chinese and, that's not, if they just spoke Chinese and did their cyber security and all of that, okay. I can see where that's necessary for, certain things, but with their character, their documented character is so compromised, y'all. It's so bad. It is so bad. It's so illegal. It's so illegal. And to access when you can't access, to tamper with when you're not supposed to tamper with, to have that on top of this Chinese thing, it's very, very concerning. Very, really concerning. And, let's just say if I was a general, and of course I'm not a general, but if I was a general, I sure wouldn't have my assistant be Kyla Cardona. No way. No way. No way. Go get a different job. No way. You're not going to have access to Fort Bliss and all of the soldiers and everything. No way. No way. And with the conflict of interest that her husband's in the JAG. And there's others. There's other things um and we'll release that as, as we're able to do so, because right now we're not at liberty to say everything. Um but just know that it's very, very, very serious. And I wouldn't say it um because it gives me no pleasure to say it. It just makes me cry because of they are just, I just don't even, yeah, they're so treasonous. So that is really important to get out to people for the safety of our volunteer sons and daughters in the military, for our national security. That's very important, and we spent a lot of time, you know, putting things together so that everybody, and releasing it so that everybody would understand it and share it. And we have millions of shares, I mean, millions of views now with the Bernabe posts, and we're very, very grateful. Thank you so much. And it has grown the site. But, I just want to let you know it only takes one. It only takes one, like Richard. Um, and to be a Fort Bliss whistleblower is very, very difficult. It is very difficult to be a Fort Bliss whistleblower because their their criminal network had taken that into consideration. You have a criminal trafficking, cartel tied criminal and military tied, cartel tied, military tied, criminal trafficking uh, group, network, syndicate, whatever you want to call it, there on Fort Bliss. And in order to have that go with the least amount of trouble, with impunity, right? To go with them, let's just bribe people, right? You can bribe people, but they're more sinister than that. They're more sinister. They brought 14-year-old girls on base to be, live in the barracks for 4 months. 4 months. Think about all the videos that we're taking in those 4 months. They just compromised our soldiers. They compromised our security with all of the substances, all kinds of substances, including crack cocaine. That's really coming into picture here, and I just want to give you a little forewarning that the crack cocaine is starting to come into this whole case. Um, and they brought all of this in, of course the F1, right? Um, but yeah, they brought all this in, and then we know that the barracks were flush with weapons, and these we know from another colonel's health and welfare check that we received, that many of these weapons. We have mountains of evidence, I'm telling you. So this report of this health and welfare check confirmed that these weapons, many of them were not registered. They were illegal weapons, and talk about flush with weapons, flush with all kinds of nonsense in the barracks. And I think that is absolutely another violation of Bernabe, not making sure that the barracks are a place that the soldiers want to live. They cannot have these substances in it. They cannot have these illegal weapons in it. They cannot have 14-year-old girls being pimped out living in their barracks for 4 months. And all of the videos, these illicit videos that compromise, can be used as blackmail, can stop anybody from becoming a whistleblower because they could go to prison. They're compromised, right? So, it was very sinister. It was very planned. It was not for pleasure. Like I said, it was not for pleasure. This was absolutely planned and intentional. Absolutely intentional. It was Thomas Kane, the director of emergency services, that was approved to give and gave the passes to many of these young girls going on during the lockdown, right? During the Cobra Strike lockdown. And for the parties, and I'm sure they weren't 6 feet apart. So this is an intentional compromising of our security, because every last one of our most valuable assets, our volunteer sons and daughters, are our national security. And to compromise our volunteer sons and daughters who are serving in the military, right? To compromise them, uh, like this, to be blackmailed and kept and to silence them, you know, and to mentally damage them. Think about the mental, and the suicide rates were going way up. So this was absolutely uh, treasonous what they did to our soldiers, and what I believe they're still doing. And I have other, we're military families, so we have a lot of connections, and so we have a lot of other um, uh, evidence that confirms everything that I'm saying to you right now as true. The mental health, the physical health, the compromising, the blackmailing, and intentionally doing it to our national security, our volunteer sons and daughters. So that is something really important for everyone to pass around. Thank you, Danielle, for coming on. And don't forget the antifreeze that people were drinking. Yes, and that was just absolutely evidence of the failed leadership, wasn't it? To have the grog party during a field problem, a party, Um, remember where our national security is absolutely way more important than any of our personal pleasure. Okay? Any of our personal pleasure. And the sex cult activities going on Fort Bliss is just so egregious. It is it, I just can't even I it's so hard. I can't even describe it because I can't even do it online. It would just not even be right to do it. Just know that it is really, really bad, and it is absolutely a national security threat. Remember when there were allegations that soldiers being charged by leadership to leave barracks during COVID? That whole thing, let me tell you, they were bringing in the girls, but then, they just weaponize everything. And when we were on post and in the meetings, my term was insanity. This is absolutely insanity. And so, are they insane? No, they're intentionally hurting our military for their personal gain, for their personal agenda, be it for cashing in on the criminal trafficking, be it on cashing in on contracts, being it cashing in on selling our secrets, whatever. There's many different, or just being compromised through the sex and the drugs, right? Um, it was all insanity, and it really, really, for all the good soldiers, it was for them um, a mental a mental assault to see their leadership so entirely insane was for the troops a mental assault. And these, for the most part, our military is very young, very, very young. And so it's very difficult to be a whistleblower. What Richard accomplished was absolutely heroic and amazing because he did not allow himself to be compromised and was able to be fearless and whistleblow um, this criminal trafficking, the fraud, the corruption, but the trafficking, right? The trafficking. And that's not me just saying it, it's absolutely documented by official sources. Official sources, absolutely no. And the corruption, just like this New Mexico, this judge and his wife being arrested, which you I think it's well, there's two judges now, right? I think that's the beginning of many, because unqualified individuals were given positions, and Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe is one of them. He is absolutely unqualified to be a three-star general and to be a general at all, to be in the uniform at all. He is totally compromised, and he's treasonous, and he's became a traitor and treasonous, and he needs to be held accountable for what he did. So he's working for foreign and domestic enemies, okay? He's working for his own personal gain, foreign and domestic enemies. And that's not me just saying it off of the hip. It's what the evidence absolutely confirms. Absolutely. So, what else? Joe Spencer running his mouth, blah, 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 but he needs to be held accountable because there were witnesses that said, um, clearly, witnesses corroborated by Glennon Oakley Jr., that there were shooters in full black. There was a witness that was shot at that said he was in all black, black um, above, black below. That was not Patrick Crucius, was it? And with a mask on. That was not Patrick Crucius either. And so, there, Joe Spencer is, I wonder if he's a brother of Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. Are they brothers? Because they are pretty corrupt together. They're pretty. For the open checkbook, right? Anything for the open checkbook and whatever for stars and well, uh, Sean Bernabe needs to be stripped from everything, and he needs to pay it back. He needs to pay back restitution, because let me tell you, they absolutely milked the taxpayer. So I agree. Thank you so much, Danielle. So I just want to say, please continue sharing. This is what drives um, the institutions and the agencies to continue to put this on a very high level of emergency. And we're very grateful, and that's why we spend so much time um, explaining and giving out whatever we can um, to you to understand what's going on. The criminal magistrate court, the DA's office, the federal court with Mayella being in the DA and being a trained hacker and a cyber security tech, and working for Jaime Esparza, and working with James Montoya. So they all know, and um, we gave that to the media weeks ago, right? When we first heard about it. Where are they? Where's the media? Okay, it's documented. It's hard evidence. There's no question about it. And where's the media? It really does expose how criminal the media is, doesn't it? It really does. And why? And I don't know, it probably was over a year ago that we gave them the criminal law magistrate court information. Where are they? They don't care about the people of El Paso County getting their voting rights disenfranchised. They don't care about that. Where's Veronica Escobar? She doesn't care about her constituents getting their voter rights disenfranchised and having imposter judges rule over them that have no real authority. And doesn't she care about having a prosecutor, a DA, that's properly following the law properly? I mean, it's not hard. It's not rocket science to sign the statement of officer, the anti bribe line. The Secretary of State, through our open records, and especially with Bill Hicks, it shows the whole process. And, once you win the election or get appointed, in Bill Hicks's case, he got appointed. After he gets appointed, this is before he takes the oath, the Secretary of State sends him an email with step-by-step baby instructions, y'all. They're baby instructions. Any first grader, well, let's say third grader, any third grader can follow them. And with the statement of officer, she sends the statement of officer PDF to Bill Hicks and even James Montoya, saying, "Welcome, welcome, congratulations, uh, to your election or to your appointment. This is what you need to do. You need to fill out your statement of officer and send it back to me." I mean, and it's not. It doesn't even have to be notarized because she notarizes it. So the fact that James Montoya's is notarized is strange. Matter of fact, and then it's months before, and remember, he went in to work with Bill Hicks early on as assistant district attorney. And we believe that that was his assistant district attorney's statement of officer, which is also real weird, really weird. So, something, but, the 2028 stamp was enough to declare it tampered with, right? And that was enough. So, yeah, and I think El Pasoans need to have a working system. They pay for it. They pay for it, and they're getting robbed right now. They're getting the short end of the stick. And so we would appreciate if everybody shares that information to the people of El Paso. So thank you so much. And God bless you.